Welcome back to another Wake 'em Up Wednesday. I am your host, the one and only Jake the Awake. And just like that, we are back in business. We are live here on YouTube. Not only am I here, but I have my trusty sidekick here, Ralphie. He's here as well tonight. And we're about ready to get this party started. I hope you guys are ready to have some fun tonight. I got a lot of videos to break down and show you tonight. So strap in. It's going to be a good time. It's Wake 'em Up Wednesday. All right. You ready, Ralph? You ready to do this? All right. Suzette Ann says, hi, Jake, Ralphie, and everyone. Hello, Suzette Ann. All right. Deadbeat said, hey, there he is. There I am. All right. And just before we got started, I had one super chat come in. So let me go ahead and get to that. Rose is also here, one of my moderators. She says, hello, Jake the Awake. Hi, Rose. Glad you could make it. All right, so if I go all the way back to the one of the very first comments that came in before we got started. LaFleur Network, Shady Davy D says, number one truther source right here on YouTube. Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that. And tonight I'm going to be bringing you my own unique take as usual. You know, the truth is stranger than fiction. And tonight, that might be considered the case as well. So stick around. Got a good show for you guys tonight. All right. Suffocation Vacation says, sup, Jakey Poo. I don't know if I like the nickname Jakey Poo. All right. I don't know if I dig that. All right. Yes, the world's most famous asshole. Until the point where I got sick of calling myself asshole. I got sick of being associated with an anus. And so I changed the name, did a little bit of a rebrand. But it's basically still the same content with just a slight bit of a name change from Jake the Asshole to Jake the Awake. Very subtle change where I got rid of the, anus part. All right, so go ahead and get started by hitting the thumbs up. We're going to be breaking down some offshoots of the Renee Nicole Good psychological operation. So there's a bunch of offshoot psyops that are based on the original psyop, which was the Renee Good bang bang pow pow incident. So we're going to get into all these different videos that are now surfacing that are similar to the Renee Good psyop, but they're different, right? It's almost like they have all this ICE versus protester footage that's just being uploaded now, just tons of video footage flooding the internet of protesters in Minnesota supposedly clashing with ICE agents. So we're going to get to that tonight. We're going to break that stuff down. Also, there is word that Trump wants to gain control of Greenland. Yes, Trump is like a crazed, evil dictator. He says he will not stop until America has control of Greenland. We're going to get to all that jazz tonight as well. Nicholas Giannakakis says, hey, Jake, hit the thumbs up right now, everyone. That's a great plan. Hit the thumbs up right now to get us started. Let's get an initial boost of thumbs up action. And we're going to get this party started. And to set the tone, we're going to start with a very serious video. Very serious. No screwing around. First, let me bring up my watch page and make sure everything is on and popping. And then we'll get started. All right, looks decent on my end. right. Looks like another super chat just now came in from Raw Onions. He says, I am no longer participate in left-right paradigm. Thank you. Yeah, we don't do the right versus left paradigm over here. In fact, we show how the government is manufacturing these events to further divide the right and left. But they're catching on to guys like me telling everybody that they're purposely dividing the right and the left. And they made it so obvious with the Renee Good incident that they're dividing the right and the left. So what they're doing now is they're having a right-winger like Joe Rogan take more of a lefty stance. So now it's headline news that Joe Rogan isn't siding with ICE. And Joe Rogan is supposed to be a right-wing dick licker Trump supporter, right? But apparently Joe Rogan is more so siding with the innocent victim narrative that she was just trying to drive away and that Renee was not trying to hit the officer. So Joe Rogan's take a little more of a lefty take. So what they're trying to do here is blur the lines between right and left. So we're going to get to that tonight as well. So we got a lot of good stuff to cover. You guys ready to, and thank you, by the way, Raw Onions, for the super chat. You guys ready to get started? We're going to get started with a very, very serious video to set the tone. All right. No joking around. All right. But before we get started with the very first video, just before we get into that, we got another super chat from Doxological Thinker. Says, what's up, Jake? Excited for another epic stream tonight. Did you get a chance to check out AI Newt Gingrich? No, I totally did not. I wrote it down, but did not get to it. But tonight, I think I can get to it tonight. Once we finish up with what I want to show, I think I can even get to it tonight. So I'll write it down so that I look it up tonight. You can even tell me exactly what clip it is when we get to it, so that I can see exactly what you're wanting to show. So thank you for the super chat. We'll definitely get to that tonight, right after I hit these headline news stories right now. Okay, so like I said, this very first video, it's going to set the tone for the whole evening. All right. All right. So here we go. This first video is a giraffe arrested by ICE in Minnesota. A giraffe.
Partying with the frog. It's the new woke stock. All right, they're not ready for primetime players. You got your super soakers. You got your fucking ballooning. Where are we going? We want us over here? Oh, we got the power march. What are we doing here? What? Oh,
Now we're getting some lag, of course. Hold on. Knock down the pixels.
You have no idea what it's gonna. You got a fucking rifle mag. I want you a rifle mag in your vest. You don't have a rifle.
So check it out. When you see a giraffe getting arrested by ICE agents, right? When it first starts, you're like, okay, this is going to be some sort of a skit. And then they take him down. And then you hear people like trying to act like this is a legit event. They're actually passing this off like this actually happened. So I can show you another report from New York Post reporting on this like this is an actual event. So this isn't just some skit that some YouTuber did. They're actually treating this like this guy in this giraffe costume actually got arrested. All right. Now I missed a few super chats. Let me go back and read. I had like several super chats come in. So I got to go back real quick. Okay, fan funding. And I'll get right back to this. Okay. Sorry, 1 second, guys. I got to catch up on a super chat that came in like several minutes ago, and I totally whiffed and missed it. How is this happening? It's like I keep passing over it somehow. Oh, I gotta love this dead air where I'm trying to go back and read super chats. So professional. All right. So we got here one here from Nicholas, and I totally did read that one. All right. I went too far. Got that one, the Newt Gingrich clip. Okay, so it's the one right after this that I missed. And then all ensuing. Here we go. Sorry for the wait. Crowded Isolation 1 says, what's your favorite piece of merch, Jake? My favorite piece of merch would probably have to be the classic Lunar Module or Homeless Tweaker Shelter t-shirt. Right? It's classic, never goes out of style. I've been wearing it for almost a decade, right? I came up with this design, and that is the actual 1969 supposed picture of them landing on the moon for the first time, right? What does it look like? Looks like a homeless tweaker shelter. So the question is, Lunar Module or Homeless Tweaker Shelter? And you can order it in the description down below, the description of this stream. That's my favorite piece of merch, of course. All right, Tyler Sweeney said, wish Suffocation Vacation a happy birthday. He turned 37 in December. I'm his girlfriend and totally forgot. No kidding. We love watching our 1-year-old. Great to hear it. So happy birthday to Suffocation Vacation. I'm going to sing the restaurant version of Happy Birthday. It's much shorter. We can get through it much quicker. And it goes like this. Happy birthday from all of us to you. We wish it was our birthday so we could party too. Hey, there you go. Restaurant version of Happy Birthday going out to Suffocation Vacation. All right. All right. And got a few more. And then we can get back to breaking down these clips. Raw Onion says, fat ICE agents, shouldn't their costumes match? So we're going to be looking at a bunch of different footage tonight of ICE agents clashing with supposed protesters. Looks like it's being manufactured, like they're making all sorts of different ICE versus protester content, because that's what people are supposedly interested in watching right now after the Renee Good event. Raw Onions says, fat ICE agents, shouldn't their costumes match? Oh yeah, I heard that. Got a new member. Looks like I missed a couple other super chats. Shit. Did you see the self-driving cars? Yes, I have seen self-driving cars. And I talked about it a few streams ago, 2 or 3 streams back. And I also showed that China's talking about self-flying cars. So not only flying cars, which are like drones, but a person gets to sit inside of it, but it being automated and you not having control. So imagine a drone that you sit inside and there's no pilot, no one else in there. It's just you solo inside of a drone, no controls, and it's fully automated. So I showed a clip where they're talking about doing that in China. We'll see about that. I don't think that during our lifetimes we're going to see people flying around in their own cars personally. And someone says you have something between your teeth. All right, I'll try and get rid of that. Thank you for these super chats from Dan Thompson, KX. Dan Thompson, KX. All right. Now I think we're all caught up on super chats. What's my favorite piece of suffocation vacation? All right. So let me get back on track. So they're reporting that this giraffe being arrested is actually a real arrest.
Too many goddamn times. You have no idea what it's gonna. You got a fucking rifle mag. Why do you have a rifle mag in your vest? You don't have a rifle. Leave the giraffe alone. Let him go. Free Robbie. 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 Let him go.
And check it out. So New York Post is the New York Post is also running with it. So this is mainstream media, New York Post. ICE agents in Minneapolis arrested protester and entertainer Rob Patoilo, also known as Robbie Roadsteamer, who was wearing a giraffe costume. So they aren't saying that this was just a skit. They're reporting on this like it actually happened.
We're not the radical Antifa left. This is Coachella. Come on and dance with me. Your lunch break is over. Oh, we got the power march. What are we doing here? What?
And they walk right over to the giraffe, and they only take the giraffe guy, but nobody else. And he's right out in front. And then they have everybody there to capture the whole scene. And then the chants of Free Robbie, of course. Seems like a total skit that they would do for someone's YouTube channel. But here you have the New York Post reporting on this as it actually happened. And the guy in the costume, I'll show you the next video. He's going on as if this is a real thing that happened to him.
I got. You're arresting the dancing giraffe. Is that the right side of history?
And to address the super chat real quick, NFL is fake. Would you ever look into Major League Baseball? I've said over and over again, all the other pro sports organizations are also scripted, rigged sporting events. Anything that you can bet on any of these betting apps or, in a sports book, if you can bet on it, then it's a fixed event. And so it doesn't matter if it's baseball or the NBA or UFC or whatever. If you can bet on it, it's fixed. And so I don't do baseball game breakdowns because baseball footage is boring to me. And so I don't do like top, scripted MLB plays content. But I have told people that a game of baseball is easily fixed. You can have the pitcher throw bad pitches on purpose. You can have a batter strike out on purpose. You can throw a ball that's loaded so that it goes farther. You can have a corked bat. You can have the batter know exactly what pitches are coming. You can have fielders drop easy passes, easy balls that come right to them, or fly balls, whatever. So there's so many ways to rig a baseball game. It's so easy. It's easier than rigging a football game. So there you go. Thanks for the super chat, Nicholas. All right. So guys, here's the New York Post with 2 million subs reporting that this is like a real incident with the giraffe. Right? And then you hear all the screaming, right? So one thing you're going to hear a lot of tonight is a lot of screaming, whistle blowing, and car horn honking. So in the other videos I'm going to show you, it's not as silly as a guy in a giraffe costume getting arrested, but there's a lot of noise going on that's purposely agitating to get people to be angry and pissed off on purpose. All right. So I'll show you one last video with this giraffe guy because they're actually acting like he was really arrested, which is ridiculous. All right. So here he is talking about getting arrested.
It's Robbie Road Stewart. I just want to thank everybody for their support after my 20-on-1 battle royal against ICE yesterday in Minnesota. I am safe. I am healthy. I am ready to sue ICE in Minnesota for tackling me and abusing me. I hurt my leg. I hurt my arm. I hurt my back. The guy put me in a chicken wing. All over a traffic infraction. That's what they wrote the citation for. I was blocking traffic along with 100 protesters, but they just decided to arrest me. All good. We're going to sue them. I want to thank Jolly Ginger, Echo Romeo for giving me an escort out of that damn place. It's all about love, man. We're in this together. We're all doing this to fight for the spirit of Renee Nicole Good. God bless. Hey, it's Robbie Road Stewart. I just want to thank everybody.
All right. So first thing you should notice, he's got these 3 triangles in a triangle pattern on his neck. You guys see the 3 triangles there on his neck? Shit. Was I not sharing it? I don't think I was sharing the screen. Damn it. I might not have been sharing the screen. My bad. So here's the Robbie guy. My bad. Here's the Robbie guy, and he's got these 3 triangles on his neck in a triangle pattern. Nothing sketchy about that, right?
Everybody for their support after my 20-on-1 battle royal against ICE yesterday in Minnesota. I am safe. I am healthy. I am ready to sue ICE in Minnesota for tackling me and abusing me. I hurt my leg. I hurt my arm.
So this tattoo right here, it's almost like he's showing you what he is. That's his like identifying marker that he's part of the entertainment team, right? So the fact that the officers came out and grabbed just this guy in the giraffe costume, right? And then the New York Post is reporting on it like it's a real arrest. Meanwhile, this is like one of the fakest looking things, but they're acting like it's a real arrest. So this just goes to show you how big of a fucking joke this whole thing is. And people are still buying it.
I hurt my back. The guy put me in a chicken wing. All over a traffic infraction. That's what they wrote the citation for. I was blocking traffic along with 100 protesters, but they just decided to arrest me. All good. We're going to sue them. I want to thank Jolly Ginger, Echo Romeo for giving me an escort.
All right. So there you go. There's Giraffe Man for you. Yes, the chicken wing. They put me in a chicken wing. We're totally going to sue those guys for sticking me in that chicken wing. All right. Well, a pyramid is a symbol that the Illuminati like to use, right? And there's a pyramid on our money, on our federal notes, right? So the fact that he's got 3 of them on his neck, right? I mean, what sort of regular person decides to get 3 triangles in a triangle pattern on their neck like that? It's almost like he's took an oath to, like he's a part of a club, and he's also like took it as far as to get this tattoo to show his allegiance to his club, right? Yeah, Masonic, Illuminati type symbols. Exactly. All right, let's get into some of the more hardcore protester videos. I just wanted to start with the giraffe costume guy getting arrested because it's silly looking. It doesn't look like a real event. It totally looks like a staged event. But then you got New York Post posting that video footage as if it's legit. So the mainstream media is going along with that silly shit. All right. So I'll show you some other videos on the New York Post page. So New York Post is uploading every few minutes. They're uploading anti-ICE protesters clashing with police. So a lot of ICE versus protester footage. And then they have the giraffe guy mixed in there as well. So footage like this, to me, looks like a training drill, right? This doesn't look like an actual standoff between police and rioters, because you always see the police with paintball guns and these tear gas canisters, supposedly just spewing all this, what they're saying is tear gas, or what they make it look like tear gas. It's like smoke canisters. So this is basically smoke and mirrors. It's a training drill. No way are police armed with paintball guns going to have a standoff while supposed protesters throw fireworks at them. This is all a big smoke and mirrors show, which is why they use fireworks, because they're bright and flashy, make noise. And then they have the smoke canisters, which people will think is tear gas, but it's just harmless smoke. And then they have the police holding what looks like some sort of guns, but it's paintball guns, and they don't even really use them. So it's kind of stupid when you really look at what you're actually watching and think about it. See what I'm saying? Like, oh my God, explosives. No, it's fireworks. Fireworks are made to be like not really that dangerous. Like they're still dangerous, but like they're not that dangerous. Like you can, you know, fire a bottle rocket at your friend and it's not going to kill him if it hits him. You know what I mean? But it is going to shoot across and have sparks fly through the air and make a pop, right? So if you were to like shoot a bottle rocket at somebody and it like shoots out sparks and it makes a loud bang and it bounces off of them, it might look like it hurts or look like more than it is. But in actuality, nobody's being hurt. That's what you're seeing here. Nobody's being hurt, right? You see explosions, flashy sound, flashy sights and loud noises, but nobody's actually being hurt. Like that's what it looks like every 4th of July in California, in every town. It just looks like that. All right. Nicholas Giannacacco says, any thoughts on why most of these shills, i.e. Richie from Boston, Alex Jones, etc., have scratchy voices that sound very similar? Good point. I never really thought about how each of those guys has a very distinct scratchy voice. There might be something to it, and I'm not exactly sure off the top of my head because I haven't sat and thought about it, but there might be something to it. Yeah, you're right. All those guys do have like a sort of similarity. And what's funny is I'm good at doing impressions of those scratchy voices. So all those characters you just named, I can do impressions of all those guys, right? Like, folks, I can do classic Alex Jones, the one that sounded like he was cutting a friggin' pro wrestling promo. I'm going to get you damn deep state globalists if it's the last thing I do. Folks, we need to band together. We need to fight back against these deep state sons of bitches, right? And then, of course, you got Richie from Boston. He's not quite as over the top as Alex, but he still has a scratchy voice. In fact, you might say it's even more scratchy. And if I continue to do this, if I was to do this impression for too long, it would start to irritate my esophagus. I would have some esophagus irritation, of course, which is why I need to vape some organic, 100% organic Bible vape juice to get rid of the Chinese nano drones that are trying to invade my esophagus and my anus and my urethra. So yeah, good point. They have a similar scratchy voice, right? Almost to get you to be reminded of both guys when you think of one or the other. Maybe that's why. All right, so in this footage, I think this is like training footage that they could have shot they could have shot this last year, 2 years ago, right? 5 months ago. Like this is some footage they could break out at any point and be like, oh, anti-ICE protesters and police clash. And they don't even have to tell you exactly where this is at or when this happened, right? So they can film this in any old parking lot. Like they can have a closed movie set where they film this. And then they can just show it to us corresponding with any story. Make us think it recently happened. So in this footage, I want to point out there's a lot of action, fireworks being going off, but there's not anybody screaming, not people blowing whistles, and there's not people honking horns. In the upcoming footage, it's going to be an entirely different vibe. It's not going to be nearly as quiet. So I find it funny that this footage where there's fireworks exploding and tear gas, hardly anyone's making any noise. It's relatively quiet. Meanwhile, we're going to watch some footage that doesn't have fireworks or tear gas as much or at all, but people are going to be like blaring their horns, blowing whistles and constantly screaming throughout the entire footage.
We're de-escalating. I'm a white man with a good voice.
See, we don't see anybody actually get hit or hurt in all of that footage. So it's very chaotic, a melee, but nobody is actually seen hitting a police officer. No police officers are seen like drawing their real weapons or hurting anyone. It's almost like a big show that they're putting on, or a drill that they're portraying as real.
What did he do? Back up! What did he do?
Did you find a piece of ammo? You bent down and picked it up, you loser. Okay, make sure you don't drop your losers. Take that can up. Take that can up before you you bitch. Come on. How much do you pay your rent and child support? I really want to know.
Yes, I've pointed out that Brian Disturbing Illusion just makes the same videos over and over again, and he leads people down the same stupid conspiracy theory rabbit holes as like a Candace Owens would, but then he turns around and says that Candace Owens is possibly a CIA asset, right? So he'll tell you some truth, but like with the Charlie Kirk thing, he doesn't tell you that the whole thing was staged, right? No. So Brian won't tell you that, but he will tell you, look at Erica Kirk's eyes. That was one thing that pissed me off about Brian, was he was taking place in that type of content where you point at Erica Kirk, at her eyes. Look at Erica Kirk's crazy eyes. She's got psycho eyes. And then he just goes on to the next topic, right? So he's basically leading people down that rabbit hole that Erica Kirk is hiding something about her husband's death. Maybe she's involved. So he'll tell you that the right versus left is a controlled government setup paradigm, but he won't tell you that these events are staged. He won't break it down step by step. So yeah, definitely. Ted says, you've discussed him before, but it's even worse with Brian Young. Might be the worst channel on this platform. He makes the same video with his Fed gatekeeper reaction, and his followers are cannon fodder. So yeah, I showed how he made that video about Erica Kirk and focused on her eyes and just didn't talk about how the whole thing with Charlie Kirk is political theater, that all the events are staged. So he doesn't go into any of that. Instead, he'll like give you the low-hanging fruit. He'll call something a psyop, but he won't break it down. So like the Renee Good event, like I broke down all the footage, talked about how you don't actually see Renee get shot in any of the footage. You don't see bullets enter her body, and the psyop divides the right and the left just perfectly. So the most you'll get out of Brian is that it is a psyop, but he won't break it down and show you all the different angles. He won't talk about how it can be misconstrued from a right-winger's perspective or a left-winger's perspective, and that the footage seems to be manipulated by possibly AI, right? So he doesn't take the investigation any further than just calling it a psyop. So yeah, he's like there to tell you a little bit more truth than the mainstream news, but only like maybe 10% more, 20% more than the mainstream news. He won't take it any further. And he's got that way of talking, this really shilly way of talking, like the government wants you to fall for the right or the left. But around here, we don't fall for these psyops. Hey, Look at Erica Kirk's eyes. She's got psycho eyes. Don't you agree? In other news, here's something Trump said. Just the way he presents himself, he comes off like a total fucking fed. At least in my opinion. There's usually some Brian dicklickers who will be like, Brian's a truther. Don't say that about Brian. Yeah, I call it like I see it. And other people are obviously seeing it how I see it. That Brian is posing as a truther. He doesn't actually break down these psyops. He just calls them a psyop. JP Crucino has gifted 5 memberships. If anyone got a gifted membership from JP Crucino, give him a thank you. So some people out there, if you receive a random gifted membership and you're wondering where it came from, JP Crucino just gifted 5 of them. Thank you, JP. That's very kind of you, giving the gift of Jake the Awake memberships. All right, looks like we're caught up on super chats. We can get back to these protester videos. So we got a one here that has these fireworks, and it happens at night. We don't actually see anyone get hurt. Now we'll move on to the ones that are happening supposedly in Minneapolis, going on like every day since the Renee Good event. And they're posting a lot of this footage, and it almost looks like they've manufactured and filmed like a whole batch of ICE protester versus ICE agent footage. And it's like they're testing people like to see how much outrage they can manufacture and get you to decide like who's in the right, who's in the wrong. Is the ICE agent in the right, or is the protester in the right? So they're putting out all these different scenarios where, like, you know, okay, another lady gets dragged out of her car. They don't shoot her, but she's also not a lesbian. And she looks like she's complying, but they pull her out of her car anyway. And she claims that she's trying to, that she's disabled and trying to go to the doctor. So is it okay that they pull a disabled lady out of her car who's trying to go to the doctor? Right? So they're trying to come up with all these different scenarios to keep you arguing on whether it's okay for ICE to just rip you out of your vehicle or your home willy-nilly whenever they want. I'll show you which video I'm talking about. This is like the new one that they're trying to get to go viral. In fact, I used it in the thumbnail for this stream. ICE agents drag people out of cars in front of protesters. This also by the New York Post one day ago. All right, right away. Do you guys hear the amount of whistles? And do you hear the amount of noise?
Shame on you! Force is not law! Force is not law!
So it's happening, and it's not in just this footage, but other footage I'm going to show you. They're taking the whistles and they're adding more whistles in post-production. Like there are a few people with whistles just blowing them the entire time, just causing agitation. But I almost think that they've doubled and tripled up on the whistles, like maybe 5, 6 different whistles going on, like just nonstop. And then the constant blaring of horns and then constant commotion. So it's almost like these videos have all this noise added to it to cause even more agitation.
You are not following the law!
Okay, look at this. Camera, 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 camera. Everybody's willing to risk their life and go into jail so that they can get that footage. So the footage here And the fact that I see so many damn cameras, you know, so many people like, oh, all these press members like care so much about their job, they're going to risk being physically injured or going to jail, being trampled, what have you, so they can get this footage. Too many people care about getting footage in this shot. Like, footage is the main goal of everybody here. And then they have her right in front of the camera and she yells out, this happened before with police and I'm disabled and I have to go to the doctor. Something about being disabled and needing to go to the doctor. And they make it clear when she yells this out, like she has to get this line out. So then the media can run with this and be like, okay, is it okay for ICE to pull this lady out of her car when she's disabled and she's trying to get to the doctor, right? She's clearly not trying to run them over. They didn't shoot her. So what about this scenario? Who's in the right and who's in the wrong? So they're creating these different scenarios to keep people arguing, fighting amongst each other, whether the ICE agents had a right to pull this lady out or not, or whether this is an innocent victim. Watch. Wonder if we can hear what she says. I've been pulled over by police before I'm disabled. I need to go to the doctor up there. That's why I didn't move. So she's disabled and needs to go to the doctor. And she gets to spout this line out right in front of the cameras. They make sure to get that part documented. Again, the constant whistling. Like, I don't see 20 people with like whistles hanging out of their mouth right here, right? So they're adding extra whistles in post-production and making this more noisy and chaotic than it actually was. And I still see way too many press cameras, right? Like these type of cameras, no regular person just carries around that type of camera. So way too much press getting way too close. All right. Nicholas Giannacacco says, Jake, I believe you have a very high emotional intelligence, as I do. You have a gift, my brother, and literally can only watch your channel and nothing else because I see everything you are seeing. I was born in 1983. So yeah, we're basically the same age. And, you know, I just use what I consider to be just like basic common sense, right? I look at what they're showing us and I just ask what I would consider to be like simple questions, you know, like how come all these press members are there? How do they know to be right here? And how come there's so many of them? How come they're not afraid to get this close in on the action? How come these police aren't grabbing these media people, getting involved in their police operation? Like real ICE agents or real cops. A lot of cops are dicks, right? And they don't like people with cameras getting involved in their operation, right? So I've seen them arrest these First Amendment auditors who sit there and videotape. I've seen cops arrest those guys videotaping the police for no reason. So if a policeman wants to, they don't even have to have a reason. They can just like arrest you. But I notice all these people with cameras getting involved, almost like the footage is more important than getting hurt or being arrested. So it's almost like they don't have a fear of being hurt or arrested. And it would make sense if there's no fear of being hurt or arrested because you know the whole thing is staged and your job is to get the footage. So if you know the cops aren't going to touch you, you're not going to get ran over, the protesters aren't going to mess with you, and your job is to get all this footage. Well, then, of course, that lends itself to the whole event being staged and scripted, right? So you have all these different professional photographers there to document the event, and they're not worried about being injured because they know it's a scripted event. See what I'm saying? Because a situation like that, right? You don't want to be caught up in gunfire, right? If you truly believe that ICE agents are shooting people, like, do you really want to be between the ICE agents and the protesters getting that footage if guns are actually going to be drawn? No, I don't think too many people would want to volunteer for that job. Unless they knew for sure guns weren't going to be drawn and that they were going to be totally safe. So thank you very much, Nicholas Giannakakos. Thank you for the very generous super chat. I appreciate that. All right, looks like I got another super chat come in from Hillbilly Hank. He said, Archaics sends his regards, Jake. What you're seeing here, ladies and gentlemen, this is a proof of a simulation. Now, I like to drink bourbon whiskey in my coffee. And of course, I have a checkered criminal history, but my history does not define who I am. Whenever I have to go to Las Vegas to win money, I have to report with the Nevada State Police and let them know that I'm in town. That is because I'm a convicted sex criminal. So anytime I go to Las Vegas, the first thing I got to do when I arrive is I got to let state authorities know that I am indeed in the state of Nevada. There you go. There's a little Archaics for you. This guy's got an Osmo. I have one of these Osmos. When football season ends, I'm going to do more outdoor videos, walking and talking and stuff. So my plan is when football season ends, which is coming up very soon, I'm going to use my Osmo because I bought this camera, this one that he's holding, and it's a very high-tech, crystal clear 4K camera, and I haven't used it as much as I would like because when I make my football videos, I do it all with my phone. And so haven't been using the Osmo as much as I would like. So I'm going to get out and start shooting more footage with the Osmo very soon. All right, so remember that sound because we're going to be hearing it over and over in all these different videos, whereas it was absent in the parking lot video with the fireworks. So apparently at nighttime with the fireworks, nobody wants to blow a shitload of whistles. But during the day, when ICE is clashing with ICE agents, that's when everybody just blows whistles nonstop, apparently. That's what they want us to believe. All right. So I'm seeing a bunch of different footage show up looking like this. And it doesn't have any other description besides Minneapolis residents harass ICE during dramatic arrests. So now it's Minneapolis residents are harassing ICE. See, so the title makes it out like the ICE are the poor guys being harassed by the mean old Minnesota citizens.
They're out right now. Look at this. ICE agents are out in full force.
Where's all these fucking whistles coming from? See what I mean? Like they're making it out like 20 people are walking around with those little metal whistles that like a high school PE coach would have, right? You know, like or an NFL ref. They're making it out like like 20 people with those whistles are all walking around together, just constantly blowing them. Like, I don't see where all the whistling could possibly be coming from.
Oh, Bernie. Holy Bernie. Wow. With Somali right now. Yo. Damn.
That's a lot more. Renee supposedly got shot, right? Even hear her supposed wife partner lady scream or nothing. But in this video, nobody's getting hurt. Nobody's getting pulled out of their cars that we can see, and everyone's screaming bloody murder. Whistles going off everywhere.
What's the plate number? Illinois. Holy wow. What a bunch of lawless motherfuckers. Damn. Holy yo, I'm getting out of here. Holy shit. Damn.
Like, what was that noise supposed to be? Shots fired?
Damn. Damn. Holy yo, I'm getting out of here.
See, you hear that, this like, right? But that's not shots being fired. What the hell was that?
Holy shit. Damn. Holy.
It's like it's meant to be agitating, right? Like the constant whistling is just meant to piss you off. And then you're supposed to read the title, Minneapolis residents harass ICE. So this specific title almost gets you to side with ICE, like just by reading it and then listening to that terrible noise. So see, the New York Post is just dumping this footage nonstop over the last few days. Anti-ICE protesters storm Minnesota Capitol. So here's one I haven't even watched yet from 23 minutes ago. Just showing you that they're just dumping this content out as quickly as they can manufacture it.
We are the next generation that has the opportunity to create change. So let's keep using our voices. Let's keep being loud. To the administration, we hope you see us, we hope you hear us, and realize enough is enough, and get ICE out.
Now, something like this, you can set up a protest in front of the Capitol building. It's always in front of a government building. And then you have the people running the protest. They are connected back to the government, right? They're in on the psyop. And what you have is mostly paid actors. But if you gather enough of these paid actors and you put on one of these protests and you promote it, you will actually draw in useful idiots who will show up and get involved, and they'll be convinced that they're involved in a real protest, a real grassroots movement. So this looks like, to me, a combination of paid actors, controlled speakers running this event, and then you have some useful idiots that show up and get involved, and they totally believe that they partaking in a protest. Useful idiots. They count on the useful idiots showing up. And they do. The useful idiots show up. So, for instance, in my hometown of Modesto, I personally knew some useful idiots that showed up to downtown Modesto and walked around city blocks with signs protesting the George Floyd event, right? So the George Floyd event was a staged event in my hometown of Modesto, thousands of miles away from where it happened. But I knew people, total sheep morons, who thought that, they need to go downtown and walk around the city blocks, right? Totally waste their time. So I know personally what it looks like when useful idiots fall for this shit and show up, right? And the most that they're going to let you do is scream, yell, honk your horn, and walk around. So if they see like a group of people is all agitated and pissed off, they'll have you walk around some city blocks, blow off some steam, yell, scream, chant, wave your signs, and then guess what happens? They eventually get tired and disband. So all protests end the same way. Nothing changes. Nothing comes out of it. They just get tired and disband. So whether it's a controlled protest or a legitimate protest, eventually people just peter out, get tired. They get hungry. They want to go home and watch their favorite TV shows. So they just peter out. So it's a good way to waste your time if you're a useful idiot who wants to get involved.
Hey guys, quick announcement before we keep...
And then you have to wonder how much of it can be digitally manipulated. You know what I mean? Like you have, let's say, like this many people walking by, but then you can add an extra few layers and make it look like twice as many. So they can take 100 and make it look like 200 or even 500. So you have to consider like a small crowd walking by. You thin them out, and then you can make it look like there's even more people there. See what I'm saying? So there's different techniques they can use to make these crowds look even larger than they actually were, probably. So New York Post has been fueling this fire by constantly uploading all these different protester versus ICE videos. Here's another one. I'm sorry, but that is not real tear gas. All right. And then, like I said, way too many people with professional cameras walking around. Just too many, right? So it's like the cameramen outnumber the protesters and ICE agents. And they all have like tear gas masks on. All right. So a whole lot of production going on here, but not any real protests that I'm seeing. Nicholas says, I never leave the house without my whistle. Yeah, you notice the whistles are just nonstop. It's like in post-production, they just have constant whistling being added to this footage. Look, they're going to get close-ups of the tear gas. Look at these photographers get down next to the tear gas canister. And I don't even think it's a real tear gas canister. It's just a smoke grenade. But watch them get right up next to it to get their footage. Look, see? This guy right here getting a close-up of the smoke grenade. This guy right here. Right? It's like they got the cameraman on camera a little too much. More on the sides, right? Too many cameramen in the frame.
Checking that while you're running, you guys. You motherfuckers. Get the out of here.
So it's like a movie set where they simulate chaos, but nobody's actually getting hurt, right? So we see purple-haired lady just covers her ears, but nobody's doing anything to her. And then the agent, or we saw one of these guys like banging on this window with his hand, but nobody's hurting anyone. See a guy kick a smoke grenade. People lightly throwing snowballs. Not one person throws a rock or a brick, right? Or anything that like might break the window. ICE agent aims paintball gun. So what's with the paintball guns, right? And then I hear noise that sounds like simulated paintball gun firing. It's like he's not even firing an actual paintball gun, but it's like it's still bursting little tiny bursts of air. Did you guys hear the little watch? And he aims it like this. Oh, watch out. I'm gonna shoot you with my paintball gun. Oh. Get away from the vehicle. I'm gonna not shoot you with not paintballs. Like, what are we looking at, right? Does anyone stop and inspect the footage? Is he gonna shoot somebody with his paintball gun? Was that supposed to be the sound of the paintball gun firing air?
Doesn't even bother us. Drive the away.
Then the guy at the end, he runs and just like hits it with his open hand, right? Makes sure not to hurt the car at all.
Doesn't even bother us. Drive the away.
Yeah, I'm gonna hit the window with my palm of my hand. Nice and easy. Come on, y'all. Right? So they're producing a whole lot of this protester versus ICE agent footage and just releasing a shitload of it over the last couple days. So there's a ton of videos that look exactly like this that just show like general chaos, general melee. But when you really break it down, nobody gets hurt. You don't see anyone like get punched or kicked. You don't see a brick go through the window. Nothing, right? Just a whole lot of smoke and mirrors. Know what I'm saying? Holden says, fake as fuck video. Shaquille Oatmeal said, like without the whistling, no one would give a shit. But since it sounds like constant screaming, we should be concerned. Yeah, see, the constant whistling, right? Sounds like there's like 20 people with a whistle hanging out of their mouth, just like nonstop blaring, you know, like, oh, yes, this crowd just happened to see these ICE agents in their neighborhood. So they all went outside at once and just blared their whistles together, right? The residents of this neighborhood, they all had their whistles just blaring. And then you saw like, I don't know, 15 different dudes or more, like with professional camera setups, all there capturing all of it. None of them get caught up in the crossfire. None of them seem to be scared. Almost like they knew for sure they were safe. Getting as much footage as they could. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. None of that lines up as a genuine protest or a genuine dangerous event at all. None of it makes sense. But the sheep at home, you know, like a 60 and above couple watching that on the news. Whoa, that's scary protest footage, right? So I could see how a senior citizen would see like a 20-second clip of that and be like, oh my God, that's scary. I'm glad I don't live in that chaos. You know, glad I don't have to deal with that. Those people are crazy. Those ICE agents, you know, they're brave for being there and having to deal with that. So you can definitely convince some senior citizens at home with that footage that Minneapolis citizens are just crazy, trying to hurt those poor officers. Kreger says, funny chit Jake. Oh, well, thank you. Thanks, Kreger. I appreciate the super chat, buddy. Daniel says, I think I'm being censored. Well, I can see this comment. I don't know if you made other comments that they didn't let come through, but sometimes they won't let you say certain key words and they won't let your comment come through. But if you like misspell the same words and then try it again, then it works. Or if you like say it in a different way, then it works. I don't know. They definitely watch over this channel and they definitely see who is here saying what. And last week when I broke down the Maduro event and the Renee Good event, they had me glitching. They had my stream like on a 10-second delay. And whenever I would get on a roll, tell too much truth, they would have me glitch out. They would have chunks of my audio missing, right? So I definitely think they were watching over me last week and messing with the stream. Wouldn't surprise me if they do the same thing this week. All right, let's break down some more ICE footage, and then we'll move on to Joe Rogan taking the side more so of Renee Good, which is considered a trending news story, that Joe Rogan is siding more with the left than the ICE agents. All right, so here's one where they make it out like protesters surround ICE agents at a gas station. Gee, there's that familiar whistle noise. So apparently this group of whistlers is at all of these different events.
Let me see the documents.
They're here at the gas station as well.
That's the border patrol. have to show you. How do I know you're a U.S. citizen, sir? It can go two ways. I can take you. Where were you going?
So they're making it out like ICE agents are just going to come up to you at the gas station and be like, "Are you an American citizen? Show me your paperwork or we're taking you away right now." Right? Because that's what ICE agents do. They go around the gas stations and just terrorize local citizens. And if you don't have your paperwork, they might just take you away. You could be an innocent American citizen here legally, born here. And these ICE agents will demand your paperwork. And if you don't have it, they'll just rip you out of your vehicle and take you away. Sure. Crowded Isolation says, who is they? I'm not exactly sure who you're referring to, but they can mean, the man, they as in the government, the ones running the show, right? So I don't know. They can mean a lot of different people. I'm not exactly sure who you're asking about right now. So like if I say, they want us to believe that this is a genuine event, then I would be referring to like the script writers who came up with this news story, right? And also the people high up the chain who authorized this, came up with this plan, right? I can't tell you exactly who the script writers are. I don't know the names of the people who come up with these ideas and make it all happen. I wish I knew, but there's no way for me to know that. But I do know that they script the news in advance. And so these events are manufactured to create outrage, right? And it even goes down to editing in these fucking whistles to aggravate us. It's done so to get us angry, get us triggered, get us to attack the opposing side. So if you're a right winger, you're going to side with ICE. If you're a left winger, you're going to side with the victims supposedly being ripped out of their cars and shot. So they have this specifically designed to engineer outrage and hate.
Where were you born? Africa? Are you a U.S. citizen or you got naturalized? You're naturalized? What year?
All right, I've seen this BS a bunch of times, and I totally disagree. People will say, this is a distraction from Epstein. You know what happened the other day? Some guy showed up to my channel and attacked me in the comments section. And he said, your channel is ran by Israel. And I know this because you don't talk about Epstein. All right? So I've told you Epstein is a created guy. Right? The media told you who Epstein was. The media told you about his island. The media told you about the supposed goings on Epstein's island. You never met Epstein. You never knew who he was until the fucking TV told you who he was. And furthermore, the Epstein files comes from the government, and then they hand those supposed files to the mainstream media. I don't trust the government or the mainstream media. The mainstream media is controlled by the government. So I damn sure am not going to trust anything that shows up on the supposed Epstein files. So I've told you guys the whole Epstein shit is a psychological operation. The whole thing. Not just him supposedly dying in prison. But him as a character is also a psychological operation. That island, what supposedly happens there, also part of the psychological operation. They got citizens like this guy acting like they know all about this Epstein list and like, oh, this is a distraction from Epstein. Yeah, see, no, they want you to talk about the Epstein thing, which is why they created it. So whenever somebody says this is a distraction from the Epstein thing, you're actually getting people to think about the Epstein psyop. You're partaking in the promotion of the Epstein psyop by acting like it's real, by acting like people are being distracted from it. Nobody's being distracted from it. It was given to us by the mainstream media and the government. They dangle it in front of us, make us beg for these fucking Epstein files. And I'm just one of the smart enough guys who knows that it's bullshit and refuses to beg for their made up files. Yeah, there was a guy who came over, attacked me in the comments section. Your channel's ran by Israel. You won't talk about the Epstein list. Such a fucking shill thing to say, right? Jake won't talk about Epstein. Must be because he's owned by Israel. That's how they attack a real truther. They play that fucking Jake won't talk about the Epstein list card. All right, so now this guy's going to try and make it more than what it is. See, I didn't attack you, but it seems like you are butthurt. Oh, yeah, I'm just butthurt. Yeah, I said some other guy. I didn't say it was you who said the thing about Israel. But no, you're not the only one who's brought up Epstein and made it out like, this is a distraction from Epstein. They're trying to keep us from finding out about Epstein has made up shit. I'm not butthurt. You're a fucktard who fell for the Epstein psyop, which is why you fucking said that shit you said about this being a distraction from Epstein. They're the ones who told you about Epstein, fucktard. Ooh, you're butthurt. Yeah, just call the guy who knows Epstein's a psyop butthurt because you're too much of a fucktard to know that Epstein's a fucking psyop. So just refer to me as butthurt. See how this works, guys? Fucking idiots.
Get the fuck out of our city!
I'm not going to get out of your city, number one.
Yes, get the fuck out!
I'm not a Nazi.
Yes, you clearly. Oh, what does that say? Border Patrol. Yeah, you're a fucking Nazi. You work for the fucking orange fascists in chief. Yeah. Get the fuck out of our city, you Nazi piece of shit. Number one, I'm not gonna.
So this is how they garner sympathy for the ICE agents. They make it look like this unhinged guy just comes up and calls the ICE agent a Nazi for no reason, just gets in his face, starts sticking his finger in his face. You got that annoying whistling and car honking going on. Like they're just at a gas station. Where are the whistles coming from?
Get out of your city because I live here. Oh, you want to make fucking... Okay, good for you. Good for you. You want to make fucking lampshades out of people's shit? Oh, yeah, fuck you. Fuck you, Nazi piece of shit. Lampshades out of people's shit.
Oh, now this is what happens when somebody wants to say I'm butthurt and then I fucking put their retarded ass in their place. Sorry I ever bought your stupid COVID t-shirts. Fuck you, Jake. I followed you longer than any person in this chat. Was one of your first subs. Piss on you, you dumb it. See, so that's how quick I get attacked, right? This is a distraction from Epstein. And I point out it's not a distraction from fucking Epstein. And then it turns into now I'm an asshole, right? So I'm butthurt and I'm a dumbass. And my t-shirts were stupid, even though he bought them, right? Yep. So apparently people who follow me since the beginning believe in the Epstein shit, even though I've said on my streams over and over again, Epstein is a made-up fucking character. So one of my biggest supporters who bought my shirts didn't listen to me when I've said over and over that the Epstein shit is made up. I find that hard to believe.
Yeah, get the fuck out! Get out!
One of my biggest supporters just so happened to totally fall for the Epstein shit hook, line, and sinker. Never listened to my explanation of the whole thing ever? Huh, how about that? Buys my shirts, loves my channel, but also falls for the Epstein shit, comes here to my channel and says this is a distraction from Epstein. Whatever. Jonna says, so fake. All right, so now we'll move on. They got Joe Rogan taking the side more so of Renee Good, and he's using rhetoric comparing ICE to the Gestapo. So let me get to that real quick. So I've pointed out that they're dividing the right and the left right down the middle with this Renee Good psyop, and it's worked like a charm. And so since all the right-wingers are on ICE's side and all the left-wingers are on the side of Renee Good, they had to have one popular right-winger lean more towards the left on this issue to blur the lines between right and left. It was a little too obvious that this event was dividing the right and left just perfectly. So now they got Joe Rogan to claim that she was trying to drive the opposite direction of the officer, and that it's terrible that a woman had to die. Ted 9423 said there's a bunch of idiots falling for this fake psyop audio with zero evidence from this fake gender invert. Sasha Riley saying Jane Goodall saved him from Epstein and Trump. Look it up. Wait, there's a bunch of idiots falling for this fake psyop audio with zero evidence from this fake gender invert. Sasha Riley saying Jane Goodall saved him from Trump, saved him from Epstein and Trump. I'm not sure exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what you're talking about. Is it like one of these? Is it this interview? I don't want to change subjects because I was talking about the ICE thing and I was going to move on to the Joe Rogan portion. And so this goes in like an entirely different direction. So I don't want to get too far off topic because then I got to try and get everybody right back onto the Minneapolis ICE shit. So I do want to stay on topic, but Sasha Riley, Jane Goodall, Epstein, and Trump. All right. I'll make a note to look into this for possibly next stream. Thank you, Ted, for bringing it to my attention. Doxological Thinker said, you've broken that down like 500 times, but somehow he missed all of them. Yeah, dude, I've snapped at people over the Epstein thing several times because so many people are like falling for it and acting like whatever the government tells you about that list is like some sort of fact that cannot be fabricated when like everything about it can totally be made up and you can't verify jack shit or prove jack shit. Like, what about the Epstein list can you fucking verify? Have you ever seen a video of Epstein and Trump banging little kids? No, you haven't. Have you ever witnessed it? No, you haven't. But there's people who will go on and on about what Trump and Epstein did, supposedly on the island, right? So yeah, I don't fall for none of that stupid shit. Not around here. So let me get back on track with the Joe Rogan taking the side of Renee Good, because he's like the only right winger doing that. And so I find it hilarious that like the most popular podcaster and a total right wing Trump dick licker is going to compare ICE to the Gestapo and take a lefty approach. And then you have mainstream news outlets reporting on Joe Rogan's take. So apparently MSM, like CNN, cares about what Joe Rogan thinks about ICE.
Here is how podcaster Joe Rogan described it.
You don't want militarized people in the streets just roaming around, snatching people up, many of which turn out to actually be U.S. citizens that just don't have their papers on them.
Okay, that's not true. ICE is not going around snatching up citizens. Joe Rogan in the CNN clip.
Joe Rogan described it.
People in the streets just roaming around, snatching people up, many of which turn out to actually be U.S. citizens that just don't have their papers on them. Are we really going to be the Gestapo? Where's your papers? Is that
Gestapo? And I'll read the definition of that because it's not a word that a lot of people use. So just in case anybody doesn't know, Gestapo. The Third Reich's secret as Hitler's main instrument of torture and terror. So they're Joe Rogan is making a comparison between what ICE is doing now to Hitler's secret police regime, right? Which is a lefty take. And Joe Rogan is supposed to be a right-wing Trump supporter. So here they have one of the biggest, most recognizable Trump supporters taking a left-wing stance. And I think it's because it was so obvious. All the right-wingers were standing with ICE. All the left-wingers were standing with Renee Good. It was clear that they were dividing the right and the left. So they had to have one right-winger take a lefty stance. So they use club member Joe Rogan to blur the lines between right and left, to get more traction out of the story, because the story was starting to become old news. People were ready to move on. So here they have Joe Rogan keeping the story going.
That has also become a big part of this so-called enforcement. I mean, Minneapolis is not a huge place, okay? And they are absorbing thousands of federal officers, more than any other deployment that they've done so far. And we are seeing these encounters where you're seeing federal officers, maybe ICE agents, maybe Border Patrol, walking down the street, stopping people, sometimes because they look Somali or they look brown or rebel.
Look at this guy. Look at this. Whoa. Talk about a resting bitch face. Is that even a real guy? And see, she's pushing the narrative that ICE just walks down the street questioning if people are American citizens, demanding their paperwork. That's not what's happening. That's bullshit. I'll bet you if I went to Minnesota or went to Minneapolis and drove around, I'll bet you I could not find any ICE officers doing any of this shit. I'll bet you all these events that they're staging are done on a closed set, done in private. And I'll bet you I wouldn't be able to find any of this shit happening.
Sometimes because they look Somali or they look brown or whatever it is. This is according to those people who were stopped, and asking them, where are your papers? Show me your papers. Where were you born? That's the stuff that we're seeing. And Americans like Joe Rogan are concerned about it.
So ICE is walking down the street demanding paperwork. And Joe Rogan is concerned about it, you guys. Joe Rogan decided to be the voice of reason. He decided to not be a typical right-wing, bootlicking Trump supporter. He's going to compare ICE to the Gestapo. So it's like Joe Rogan's coming to his senses.
And I think part of it is, look, Joe Rogan's identity does not depend on defending Donald Trump and his administration doing things that are indefensible. And I see people all the time bending themselves on TV, bending themselves into all sorts of pretzel shape because they subsist from being a Trump supporter, and that's all they've got.
So now they can make Joe out like the reasonable one who's not going to back Trump on every single issue. Like he's such a smart guy, and he's not just going to blindly side with Trump on every issue. He's going to weigh the pros and cons. He's going to make an informed decision. And here you have CNN backing Rogan. Right? Like Rogan's take on this event is mainstream news. So not only is he the most popular podcaster, right-winger, here you got CNN praising him for not being a typical right-winger and siding with Trump on this issue.
Joe Rogan, I think, is speaking out of conviction, is speaking out of what he is seeing. And I think it's reflective of what a lot of Americans feel right now. People are showing up at the streets because they are pissed off at what is happening in our country. It is heartbreaking to see these images in America. We are the country that's supposed to be an example for the rest of the world. And the things that are happening in our streets.
Well, I don't think that many real people are actually going out there and getting involved in this. I think there's some useful idiots that might show up to the Capitol building, but the videos where we hear all the whistling and the fireworks going off and the smoke grenades, that appears to be manufactured, staged footage that doesn't even involve any real people. So the only real people that we probably saw that got involved in this were the ones just standing there outside the Capitol building. I don't think they're going to involve any actual people throwing smoke grenades at the police. So I think all that footage, they stage that footage, manufacture that footage. And here she is pretending like that sort of stuff is happening in all the streets everywhere. She's just referring to the streets in general as if like everyone's mad at ICE and taking to the streets. It's just not true. Go outside right now. Go out in the street outside your house, and none of this is happening.
Are the type of things that happen in these third world countries. And they do bring all sorts of bad memories when you see these masked men targeting people. And it's not just Minnesota. I mean, we remember the woman who got pulled out of the street in Boston by masked men.
Oh, by masked men? Masked men? I'll bet you this bitch right here was telling you to wear a mask back in 2020 and stay 6 feet apart. And now she's going to act like these masked men are scary. They're masked men! Masked men! Yeah, but during 2020, I'll bet you she was muzzled up. She's taking a lefty stance, so I'll almost guarantee you she was wearing a mask. All right. So we'll watch a few more clips on Joe Rogan taking the lefty stance. And then we'll move on to Trump wanting to take Greenland by force.
The optics of that for the administration. To use the word unsettling one more time, let's go ahead and roll this clip of Joe Rogan, who had Rand Paul on for a very interesting edition of the Joe Rogan Experience, himself expressing this sentiment of being unsettled about what he has seen from ICE. And remember, obviously, Rand Paul is libertarian, he's Republican member of Congress, but he comes from the libertarian branch of the Republican Party and the broader conservative movement. So questions about ICE weigh heavily on the libertarian mind always.
Got a bit of a jawline here. little something maybe here. I don't know.
And have for a long time. How did Rand Paul respond to Rogan? Let's take a look.
You don't want militarized people in the streets just roaming around, snatching people up, many of which turn out to actually be U.S. citizens that just don't have their papers on them. Are we really going to be the Gestapo? Where's your papers? Is that what we've come to? It's also very ugly to watch someone shoot a U.S. citizen, especially a woman, in the face.
Right.
Where it's like, I'm not that guy. I don't know what he thought. And again, this is a guy who had almost been run over, but it just looked horrific to me. I mean, when people say it's justifiable because the car hit him, it seemed like she was kind of turning the car away.
So there you go. Joe Rogan taking the lefty stance, turning the car away. It was horrific that she was shot in the face, right? We're going to break down his word choice because he doesn't say the cop should be punished. The cop should lose his job. Renee got murdered. She's an innocent victim. So he takes the lefty stance, but he does so very cautiously. He has to choose his words very carefully so that he isn't appearing to be too lefty. So it's like they have him taking a slightly more lefty stance than a right stance. He's clearly not siding with ICE. So they're using Joe Rogan to be like the voice of reason here, like a right winger who's not going to back ICE completely and is considering that she turned the wheel away. But we're going to listen to this one more time, break down his word choice here.
Also very ugly to watch someone shoot a U.S. citizen, especially a woman, in the face.
To watch someone shoot a U.S. citizen, like a U.S. citizen, like what difference would that make? So if it was a Canadian person getting shot in the face, it would make a difference, right? If it was an Australian or a someone from the UK getting shot in the face, would it be any less horrific, any less bad? Anyway, so that's weird. He uses U.S. citizen, right? They want you to identify yourself as a U.S. citizen, especially a woman. Okay, so if it was a man who got shot in the face, it's not as bad. So apparently a woman who's a U.S. citizen getting shot in the face bothers Joe more so than a Canadian man getting shot in the face, right?
Right.
Where it's like, I'm not that guy. I don't know what he thought. And again, this is a guy who had almost been run over, but it just looked horrific to me. I mean, when people say it's justifiable because the car hit him, it seemed like she was kind of turning the car away.
I also want to point out he didn't see and nobody saw Renee get shot. So when he talks about how horrible it is, he didn't see bullets go into Renee's body, and neither did you. None of us in any of that footage see Renee's head blow apart. You don't see any bullets enter Renee. So we never see any footage whatsoever of Renee being shot. But here we have Joe Rogan, right-winger, Trump supporter, talking about how horrific it was that a U.S. citizen and a woman got shot in the face. And it looked like she was turning the other way. See how that goes? Using Joe Rogan to blur the lines between right and left. Frank Castle says, hey, Jake, hope you're doing well. Have you seen the new vids published by Heliofant channel, creators of iPet Goat 2? No, I haven't. I don't know anything about it. Heliofant channel? No, I don't know anything about it. Is this what we're supposed to look at? I don't know what we're looking at. This here. The hell is that? So some sort of dome-like structure. Is this what you're wanting me to check out? I'm not sure if this is what you wanted me to check out or what, but this is one of the videos on that channel, and this is some sort of dome structure, but I don't have any idea what it is. Huh.
No.
Yeah, I'm not sure what to make of this. I would need more of an explanation as to what I'm even looking at, because I don't even know what it is that we're seeing here, like why he's taking these video clips and posting this. Huh. I'm honestly confused. I don't really know what it is. Frank says something to ponder in your spare time then. Yeah, I guess I'll have to check it out, because I have no idea what I'm even looking at. Heliofant, huh? Like, is this what you wanted me to see or what? Doxological Thinker said, bro, apparently just before your stream started, another ICE shooting happened in Minneapolis and a Venezuelan got injured. Maybe they are taunting you. Wow. Wow. Well, they've been getting pretty brazen, you know, like it happened on Portland Avenue with Renee Good. And then later on the next day, there was 2 people supposedly shot in Portland, right? And then they have the address, you know, 3332 Portland Avenue, and the cop that shot her, like, supposedly got 33 stitches like the week before or something. So they used the number 33 in a few different ways. So it had all the markers of one of their events that they set up and scripted and put all their little symbolism in there. Yeah, and it happened between 33rd and 34th Street. So between 33rd and 34th Street on Portland Avenue, and the address 3332 Portland Avenue. The cop had 33 stitches from a similar event prior to this event. Yeah. All a coincidence, of course. All right, let's switch it up real quick and check out this footage of or this video about Trump wanting to take over Greenland. I'm not sure if anything's going to come of it, but we'll take a peek at the story, because they might make it out like Trump is going crazed with his own power, or is going to like try and take over Greenland by force. So they might have the story where America takes over Greenland by force. So they're planting seeds that the American military might take over Greenland, and that the citizens of Greenland don't want to be owned by America. So they're planting the seeds of a story. I don't know if anything's going to come of it, but we'll go ahead and take a quick listen. You guys can tell me what you think.
We need. It's a frightening thought, but these are crazy times. Could the United States really go to war with its own NATO allies? That once unthinkable scenario is now apparently in play, with the White House openly declaring military action is an option to seize the island of Greenland.
It's Danish territory. Denmark is a part of NATO, and other European nations are vowing to defend its borders. So why is this happening? Kari Greenbank unpacks yet another strange shift in Trump's America.
There's a saying when it comes to Donald Trump.
We need Greenland from the standpoint of national security.
Take him seriously, not literally.
We need it for national security. We have to have it.
So you'd be forgiven for thinking he didn't really mean this.
We need Greenland for national security. One way or the other, we're going to get it.
Well, turns out he definitely did.
Greenland should be part of the United States. The president has been very clear about that. That is the formal position of the U.S. government.
And I missed a super chat from Crowded Isolation. It says 49ers in the Super Bowl this year. Possibly. The fact that the Super Bowl is at the stadium in Santa Clara where the 49ers play, and the NFL has had teams play in the Super Bowl in their home stadium and win in their home stadium before. So they could do that again this year. I was thinking in my head, like a good quarterback matchup would be the Bills versus the 49ers. You'd get Josh Allen versus Brock Purdy. You'd have two clean-cut, white, hunky quarterbacks that'd be a good quarterback matchup, right? And so last year you had the black quarterback versus black quarterback narrative. So this year they might go clean-cut babyface white quarterback versus clean-cut babyface white quarterback. So 49ers versus Bills, I was thinking would be a decent Super Bowl matchup from an entertainment standpoint and from a quarterback standpoint. Let's see, who else? Possibly like I'm thinking the Rams might go back to the Super Bowl. So maybe we might get Bills versus Rams, like Josh Allen versus Matt Stafford. So I feel like they're going to have the Bills make it to the Super Bowl. I don't know why. I feel like that they're going to give Josh Allen at least one Super Bowl appearance. Whether he wins or not, I don't know. But I feel like Josh Allen is one of the more popular quarterbacks in the league. They'd be wasting his character if they don't at least give him one Super Bowl appearance. So Bills 49ers, I think, would be an entertaining matchup. But I'm not confident in that pick. So don't anybody go betting your life savings on that. They could both totally not make the Super Bowl, and I could totally be wrong. So just a total guess.
Secretary of State Marco Rubio says the president wants to buy Greenland, but the White House says military action isn't off the table. Utilising the US military is always an option at the Commander-in-Chief's disposal. So why does Donald Trump want Greenland? The world's largest island is strategically significant because it sits, along with Iceland and the UK, on an important maritime passage that links the Arctic to the North Atlantic, good for monitoring Russian and Chinese activities in the Arctic. And if Russia was to fire a ballistic missile at the US, the shortest route would see it fly over Greenland.
Or the Earth is flat and they don't want people to go check out and see what's at the North Pole. There might be Mount Meru. Maybe there's a hole where all the water goes into and gets recirculated. Maybe there's something at the North Pole they don't want us to find or ever see. And so America having a military presence in Greenland might be the key to better security to keep us from ever getting to the North Pole and seeing what's going on there. So this might be the cover story for increased military presence in Greenland.
But is there another reason? Well, Greenland is rich in natural resources, oil, gas, and rare earth minerals, which can be used to manufacture everything from electric cars to military equipment. 82% of the island is covered in ice, but the...
Do you hear that? So the reason why Trump wants to buy Greenland or take over Greenland supposedly is because of rare earth elements that they can make weapons with.
But is there another reason? Well, Greenland is rich in natural resources, oil, gas, and rare earth minerals, which can be used to manufacture everything from electric cars to military equipment.
So rare earth minerals, which they don't name, it's a very vague term, rare earth minerals, those really rare ones that occur in the earth. And of course, they're there in Greenland, underneath all that ice, of course. And they can use those rare earth minerals to create military equipment and electric cars. That's why it's so important, supposedly.
82% of the island is covered in ice, but the polar caps are melting, opening up the possibility of new shipping routes, making Greenland's treasure trove of minerals more accessible.
We need Greenland for national security. Not for minerals. We have so many sites for minerals and oil and everything. We have more oil than any other country in the world. We need Greenland for national security.
So Trump's really concerned about national security. And back when he was president the first time around, he didn't ever really talk about wanting to take over Greenland. He didn't say it was an issue with national security back then, but now apparently it is a big deal, right? So I guess he recently figured out that it's important to take over Greenland.
We have more oil than any other country in the world. We need Greenland for national security.
That is not what his former national security advisor and now current UN ambassador said in 2024.
This is about critical minerals. This is about natural resources. This is about, as the polar ice caps pull back, the Chinese are now cranking out icebreakers and pushing up there as well. So it's oil and gas, it's our national security, it's critical minerals.
It's also not quite what Donald Trump himself said.
Something about Greenland seems off to me, like these houses and the landscape. Like, is this really a real village? Or is this more like a set? Like, do all those people really live on Greenland? Is it really what they say it is? Can you fake Greenland? Can you fake what Greenland is?
Said during his first term in office.
Like these houses, like, is that really what Greenland looks like? These houses seem really nice for such inhospitable weather, right? Like there's no wear and tear on this house at all. Looks like nice and crispy and new.
Well, a lot of things could be done. I mean, essentially, it's a large real estate deal.
This all sounds vaguely familiar.
The United States just attacked Venezuela's capital, hitting military facilities.
Which begs the question, is the president taking a page out of his Venezuela playbook, where he first targeted the so-called drug boats to save American lives?
Every one of those boats you see get shut down, you just saved 25,000 American lives.
Then struck Caracas and abducted the country's president to face accusations of narco-terrorism.
So we went over this in my last stream. If you missed my last stream, I went over all the Maduro shit. So the capture of Maduro is totally fake, and it's really ridiculous. And if you watch my breakdown in my last stream, I make it very obvious and very clear that this right here, Maduro is part of the script. He's seen giving his thumbs up in some picture. In fact, I even have the picture from the last stream I did. You know, stuff like this. It's a dead giveaway that he's not really genuinely captured. Pictures like this seem to suggest that he's part of the act.
Caracas and abducted the country's president to face accusations of narco-terrorism.
The now deposed president and former First Lady of Venezuela appeared today in federal court.
Before today announcing Venezuela will be turning over between 30 and 50 million barrels of high-quality sanctioned oil to the USA. Oh, and the US oil industry will now be up and running in Venezuela in 18 months.
It has nothing to do with drugs coming to the United States because Venezuela wasn't sending drugs to the United States. Increasingly, Donald Trump is saying out loud that it's just about the oil.
Drill, baby, drill.
All right, so I don't know if anything's going to come of this story, but perhaps they might turn it into something like Trump is becoming a authoritarian dictator who's on a power trip. And he's turning into like a new age Hitler, right? So they could make it out like Trump wants to take Greenland by force because he's like the new age Hitler, something like that. I don't know if anything's really going to come of this, but they are planting these seeds. So I figured we would just go ahead and listen to what sort of bullshit they're planting here. So that if they do turn this into a major story, we'll have been covering it. All right, so somebody mentioned that there was a new shooting and a Venezuelan got shot. Let me see if I can find anything about that. Yep, it looks like just as we went live or just after we went live, there's a new shooting in Minneapolis. Let's see. This is up to the hour reporting here, guys. So we've been on here for 2 hours, and then this came out an hour ago. So I haven't seen this, obviously. So let's go ahead and watch this together and react to this together in real time.
We are getting some news from the city of Minneapolis and from Fox's Bill Malugin. Let's start with the city. They say, we are aware of reports of a shooting involving federal law enforcement in North Minneapolis. We're working to confirm additional details. There have been reports of another ICE-involved shooting. Fox's Bill Malugin with a little more context. I'm told by 4 law enforcement sources there has been another ICE-involved shooting in Minneapolis tonight. I'm told ICE was making contact with a target who then allegedly assaulted an officer with a shovel or swung a shovel. Shots were fired, and the suspect ran back to a house. No info yet on if anyone was actually shot, just that shots were fired. Very preliminary information, more as we get it. He continues, I'm now told that a suspect, believed to be Venezuelan.
A shovel-wielding suspect believed to be Venezuelan. How about that?
Was indeed shot, but is okay, stable, and is now in custody.
But they're okay, so nobody died.
So, these live images are from the scene of where this took place, and it does in fact appear that there's protesters. I just saw a firework. Well, I've got 4 different vantage points of this area, by the way.
He said he just saw a firework. You don't say! Hey, are there, 20, 30 people blowing whistles at this event as well? I hope so.
You know what? Let's pull up the audio on this one. Looks like things are getting a little more active on this camera.
There it is. He says, you know what? Let's pull up the audio. There seems to be a little more action on this camera. And then it's like 3, 2, 1. Right. And then you hear all the whistling. That same fucking whistle that we heard on all the other clips. Every one of these clips in Minneapolis, they have people whistling the entire time. Sure.
Unclear to me if this is in the exact area or how close this protest is to the area where that shooting or that shots fired incident took place. Clearly, this group of protesters advancing forward, screaming F ICE. And as we hear of another shooting taking place in the Twin Cities, this is certainly going to serve potentially.
All right. Oh, firework. Look at this.
Another firework going off.
Yeah, nobody seemed to care, right? Just casually lighting off fireworks. So they want us to believe the Renee Good event set off all these offshoot events, right? So all these other clashes between protesters and ICE, and then this shooting right here. These are all because of the Renee Good shooting. So we have offshoot psyops based on the original psyop, right? So it's like they've spent the last couple days just manufacturing a bunch of clash footage between protesters and ICE agents, as if that's all that's been happening ever since people found out Renee Good got shot. Like it's just been nonstop protesters and ICE clashing because they found out a lady got shot and they're so outraged.
Governor Tim Walz, earlier this evening, about an hour and a half ago, making an address to Minnesotans. He said he had 4 messages for Minnesotans amid these tense times. The governor saying President Trump wants this chaos and confusion on the streets. And he also said protesters need to be peaceful. It did appear to me like they were throwing some snow.
It did appear to me like they were throwing some snow. Yeah. Gotta love the snowball throwing. That's really going to hurt ICE. That's going to teach ICE a lesson. You throw some snow at ICE.
Saying President Trump wants this chaos and confusion on the streets. And he also said protesters need to be peaceful.
That guy just threw a handful of loose powder. It wasn't even a snowball. It's like a handful of loose powder. Watch.
Chaos and confusion on
right here. Here comes the loose powder throw, which is very devastating.
The streets. And he also
oh yeah, that really showed those ICE agents who's boss.
Said protesters need to be peaceful. It did appear to me like they were throwing some snow at those officers. And that's something that we've been seeing for days now as these demonstrations continue in Minneapolis. In some cases, ICE has been thrown at immigration officials.
In some cases, ICE has been thrown at immigration officials. Listen to the low energy of this fucking news reporter.
Another firework going off. Sometimes the police will throw flashbangs, by the way, in an effort to disperse unlawful assemblies.
Some more fireworks going on. Sometimes the police will produce flashbangs to try and disperse the crowds.
Okay, looks like some of those, and that might have been a flashbang right there, actually. Just saw some of those demonstrators running away.
That might have been a flashbang right there. We saw some of those demonstrators run away. Like, dude, your energy's too low, bro. If you're going to try and fake me out, if you're going to dupe the public, you need to be like, did you see the fireworks going off right there? You can see this is clearly a very dangerous situation. People's lives are at risk. You have the governor of Minnesota urging people not to be violent with their protesting.
And so seeing right now a lot of what we've been seeing in recent days, these protesters telling ICE to get out of their city. Mayor Jacob Fry has told them to get out of their city. Governor Walz today telling, oh yeah, and it's curious to me, I'm curious.
Yes, they want to make people think that in Minneapolis, like, you just go out on the streets and that's happening like all over Minneapolis. I'll bet you if I went to Minneapolis, or anybody who goes there and tries to like drive around and find any of this going on, I'll bet you can't even find any of it actually happening. They probably have this happening on like one closed off street, but they convince the public that like this is the state of Minneapolis right now. Lemming in a shiny metal box with a very, very generous donation. He says, good evening, Sir Jake. Thank you for this stream. When a lighter note becomes appropriate, would you be willing to perform another Tom Grossi impression from this past wild card weekend? Oh yeah, his Packers lost. So Tom Grossi is a Packers fan. So let me see if I can come up with something here. I really hope my Packers don't lose against the Bears. The Bears are our division rival. We beat the Bears twice this season, so there's no reason why we should lose to them in the playoffs. We're doing really good. We're winning this game so far against the Bears. I hope they don't come back and beat us in the second half. Oh shit, it's happening. The Bears are beating us. How are we going to lose this game? We were winning the whole time. Oh my God, we're actually going to lose to the freaking Bears after we were up 21-3? This makes me ashamed to be a Packers fan. Oh my God, we just lost to the Bears. I'm so ashamed. I can't believe we were winning 21-3. And then we lost to the freaking Bears. I'm so embarrassed to be a Packers fan. We need to fire our coach. We need to get a new coordinator. I think if we can get some new coordinators and a better defense, we could definitely do better than this next year. We definitely need to fire our defensive coordinator. We should probably look into drafting a defensive player with our first pick. I really think with our first pick, we need to get a new defensive lineman. If we can get the best defensive lineman out of the draft, we can solidify that defensive line. Do you guys remember when I was fan of the year and I got to meet Roger Goodell? We got to hang out all day, just me and Raj. Raj is a nice guy. I love Raj. I wonder what Raj is doing right now. I'm going to text him later. Ask if me and Raj could meet up again and hang out. If the NFL was rigged, then maybe my Packers would have won. But since the NFL isn't scripted, then there's no way that they actually got a script telling them to lose. The NFL's definitely not scripted, which is why I make cringy content about the NFL being scripted, to make fun of the whole notion that people think that the NFL is scripted. There's people out there that think the NFL is scripted, which is so stupid and ridiculous. So I make cringy as fuck content making fun of the people who think that it's scripted. I hope my Packers draft a really good defensive guy. All right. There you go. There's some Tom Grossi for you. All right. Thank you again for the generous super chat, Lemming in a shiny metal box. No, I'm never going to collab with Tom Grossi. He only likes to hang out with his buddy Perna. Right? So Brian Perna, who likes the Broncos, that's like his butt buddy. And the two of them hang out and do a stream for all the fanboys who show up, right? And they do their fanboy picks. And they go back and forth on whose team is better. Like a bunch of loser ass fucking fanboy dick suckers. All right.
Yeah, so it sounds like, I'll turn the audio down. It sounds like the television crew that's filming this might have been exposed to the elements there, unsure what exactly that smoke is made of. But certainly a crowd dispersal tactic we just saw on live television. Seems like things are cooling down for a moment on this camera. Let's move back to our other vantage point. This is the scene where that other officer-involved shooting took place earlier this evening. And again, I'll read you what Bill Malugin has.
So they say it's live, but really they can just have these previously filmed events and then just jump from one to the other. So I don't believe for a second this is actually happening live. I think they've already previously filmed this. They could have shot this last night or last week for all we know.
So far, Malugin says that he's told by 4 law enforcement sources that there's been another ICE-involved shooting in Minneapolis tonight. He's told that ICE was making contact with a target who then allegedly assaulted an officer with a shovel or swung a shovel. Shots were fired, and then the suspect ran back to a house. Okay, it looks like this camera's running away. I'm not exactly sure what they're running from or what they're running toward, if anything.
Oh, yeah, running so he can go duck behind this snow and show us nothing. All right, we'll get back to this awesome footage in a minute, and I will tell the Hello Kitty story. I got a few different super chats coming in. The Hello Kitty story takes a few minutes for me to tell, so let me get these other super chats knocked out. From Crimby, sending a super sticker. Thank you, Crimby. And I had another one from Doxological Thinker come in. And the super sticker is someone laughing. So thank you, Crimby. I appreciate the super sticker. No message attached, but super stickers are also greatly appreciated. And Doxological Thinker said, who is the most boring, this reporter, Eric Dubé, or the quartering guy?
One of the most important truths that anyone will ever learn is that the Earth is a stationary, motionless plane. The Earth is, in fact, not a globe. And I have a book that I read word for word, written by Samuel Rowbotham. And I like to plagiarize Samuel Rowbotham's work and pass his words off as my own content. I've been reading scripts for my entire YouTube career. I never go live. I never answer any questions live. I only read scripts. To this day, you will never see me doing a live stream. You will never meet me in person and be able to ask me any questions. And that is because I prefer to read scripts. I am Eric Dubé, and yes, the Earth is flat.
There you go. There's a little Eric Dubé. Quartering Jeremy. Jeremy's probably the most boring YouTuber that has like over 1 million subs. He just like reads news articles and then gives a little bit of his own opinion. And then he like puts out like 5-6 videos a day, just reading whatever the news stories are. So he'll just read like the top news stories of the day, pass that off as content. So Candace Owens is going back and forth with Alex Jones, and I have to agree with Candace that Alex is being a little over the top with what he's saying about her, right? So that's like how Jeremy would start one of his videos, right? So Jeremy just like reads whatever shit is going on in the news, just passes that off as content. He doesn't break it down as being fake, not at all. No, he believes every news story, and he just literally just reads it. The guy's got over 1 million subs just reading news articles. Did I catch up on all my super chats? Looks like I did. Oh yeah, and then I have to tell the Hello Kitty story. All right, so the Hello Kitty story happened a couple of years ago. I went on a date with a girl that I had kind of known beforehand, but we had never like dated or anything. And but we had similar friends, or we had the same friends, some of the same friends, and so we started talking on Facebook, and we eventually set up a date. And so the first time that we hung out, we got along pretty well, and I took her out to dinner, and we just talked, and it went well. And the one red flag was that after dinner, she was like, "Oh, let's," because it was like in a parking lot near Target. So we ate dinner at like some place. I can't remember off the top of my head what it was the first time, but then she wanted to go walk around in Target. So we walked around in Target, and she found like some pants or something. She wanted me to buy her some clothes, but it was like some clearance rack shit for like $15. And she was looking good, and we had just had a good date. So it was a bit of a red flag that she wanted me to buy her something, but I did because she was cute. And, I was trying to get in her good graces, like a total simp, right? So we set up a second date a week or two later. And this time she was late. So she showed up late to the date. And it was in the same parking lot as the mall. So the mall in Modesto has some restaurants in the same parking lot. And so we went to this restaurant called BJ's, right? And I wish the night resulted in a BJ, but it did not. There were no BJ's to be had, but it was we went to a restaurant called BJ's. And so she showed up like half an hour late. And so we ate our food. And this time, she wasn't quite as talkative, but it was still going okay. And then after we finished eating, she wanted to go walk around inside the mall. And automatically I thought, oh shit, she's probably going to pick out some stuff inside the mall and want me to buy it. So I already was thinking as we were heading into the mall, like, oh shit, she wanted me to buy her some clothes at Target. So this time she's probably going to pick out something in the mall that's even more expensive and expect me to buy it. So I was already like, oh shit, I hope she doesn't do that. But I was prepared for it in my head that she might try and get me to buy her some shit in the mall. So I was thinking in my head, like, what am I going to say? Am I going to tell her no? Like, and then I was like, I decided to wait and say, okay, let's just see if she picks something out and expects me to buy it. Maybe she won't. Maybe I'm overthinking it. So we start walking around inside the mall, and we're like chit-chatting and walking around. And then we go inside this gift shop. It's like one of those Hot Topic kind of gift shops that has all sorts of different gifts. And she finds a Hello Kitty coffee maker. And she picks it up and looks at it. And she goes, oh, I love Hello Kitty. I collect Hello Kitty, which is also another red flag that a grown woman in her 30s cares about Hello Kitty shit and collects it. So she hugs this Hello Kitty coffee maker. She's like, oh, I have to have this. And she gets in line, and she doesn't say anything about me buying it at first. And as we're standing there in line and she's looking at it, she's like, oh, this is so cute. And then she casually looks at me and she's like, you want to buy this for me? And I said, how much is it? And she goes, I don't know. Like, and she looks at the tag and she shows me $69.99. It's fucking $70 for a Hello Kitty coffee maker. And I say, $70? I'll let you buy that for yourself. So I tell her I'm going to let her buy that for herself. And she goes, and she starts walking over to the shelf and she sets it back down on the shelf. And she's immediately like, I can tell, like the attitude changed like in a snap of a finger. And she wants to like she's ready to like leave the store now. She's like pissed off and agitated that I just told her no. And so as we're walking out of the store, I said, well, you know, I don't want this to be like a thing where you just expect me to buy you whatever you want. This is only our second date. And then she cuts me off. She's like, you just embarrassed me in front of all those people in there. She's like, yeah, I'm ready for this to be. And then she was ready for the date to be over. She was ready to like leave at that point. So basically that was the end of the date when I told her no, that I wasn't going to buy her a Hello Kitty coffee maker. So I left that date feeling a bit down and out about how that went down, you know, how all of it went down. But there was that initial red flag in the first date where she wanted me to buy her the clothing item at Target. So that was like the initial red flag that she's one of those women who just expects gifts, even on like a first date, even on a second date when she hasn't even done anything with me yet. So there was, you know, there was no nookie after the first date. If she'd have blown my mind on the first date with like the best sex ever on the first date and then wanted me to buy her a Hello Kitty coffee maker on the second date, I might have considered it, right? Like if she'd have rocked my world with some awesome sex, I would have considered a Hello Kitty coffee maker if I knew for sure I was guaranteed to get more, right? But no. She was just expecting on a second date a fucking $70 Hello Kitty coffee maker. And then she was like immediately done with me when I said no. There you go. Hello Kitty coffee maker. Shaquille Oatmeal says, just be like, bitch, I don't even know you that well. So I kind of, in a roundabout way, a nicer way, did tell her that. I told her no by saying, I'm going to let you buy that for yourself. And then I told her, you know, it's only our second date. I don't want it to be like you just expect me to buy you whatever you want. And that's when she was done with me. And she interrupted me and she's like, you just embarrassed me in front of everybody. There you go. So that's the Hello Kitty story. Yeah, it pretty much made me not want to go on many dates anymore. That's like one of the last dates I went on. That was a couple of years ago. But there's a lot of guys who don't want to go on dates anymore because of shit like that or worse. Yes, I paid for dinner. Now, if I'm inviting a woman out to dinner and you know, I don't mind buying a dinner, and if you meet up and it doesn't quite go right and you just aren't a good match, I don't mind eating the cost of a dinner to go on a date and figure out that it's not quite the right person. But you know, not to pay for the dinners and then have to like pay for extra gifts on top of that. It would be different if like we were in a relationship and she wanted me to buy her the Hello Kitty coffee maker. Like if we had, you know, been going together in an official relationship and it was like her birthday or Valentine's Day and she wanted that fucking coffee maker, then I guess the circumstance would be different. But like on a second date, no. You ain't getting no damn $70 coffee maker. Far Tree says, thanks. That's it. Just thanks. Well, you're welcome. Thank you for the super chat donation. I appreciate it. And I want to thank everyone who donated tonight. Several people donated tonight, and I really appreciate all the super chat donations. You guys help keep this channel afloat, and I really appreciate it. If you guys are still here and you enjoyed this stream, will you do me a favor and hit the thumbs up? If you're watching live right now, do it right now. It only takes a second. Hit the thumbs up button. And if you are listening to the replay, hit the thumbs up button, right? Yeah, you. I'm talking to you. Yeah, you. Quit sitting there and not hitting the thumbs up and hit the thumbs up. There you go. That's how I get everybody to hit the thumbs up. I guilt trip them into hitting the thumbs up. Truth Hurts says, great stream tonight. The mods took out the trash midway through. Nice job, mods. Yeah, I saw some people trying to troll me and trying to bring up other shills and shit like that. And I didn't let it bother me tonight. Let it get me down. Doxological Thinker says, I've been looking for like an hour and it looks like they scrubbed the Newt Gingrich clip. But fortunately, I took videos of it live. So I just uploaded those to my channel so you can watch them. All right. I'll make a note that it's on your channel. All right. I wrote myself a note to check out your channel and check those out. In fact, I might even be able to do it right here, right now, real quick. All right, I'm just going to go ahead and, since you're sending the super chat, I'll just go ahead and show what you.
And he never thinks outside the box because he doesn't think there is a box. So 1 minute he's engaged in dealing with the left-wing goofiness of something like Cracker Barrel or Bud Light. The next minute he's dealing with Ukraine. Then he comes back, and that's why I said you have to understand.
So Doxological Thinker says that Newt Gingrich looks like AI. Now, it's a little tougher to analyze this because we're looking at a, you filming your TV screen and then uploading it. So it's not as easy to analyze, but it did look a little bit AI-ish.
That's why I said you have to understand that he never thinks outside the box because he doesn't think there is a box. So one minute he's engaged in dealing with the left-wing goofiness of something like Cracker Barrel or Bud Light. The next minute he's dealing with Ukraine. Then he comes back, and that's why I said you have to.
So just from that clip alone, it's tough for me to say for sure that that's AI, but it definitely could be. I'd need to see a little bit more. But the fact that they scrubbed that video lends itself to you possibly being right. Like if you're right about it being AI and that it's noticeable, then that would make sense if they scrubbed that video. What do you guys think? I don't really know much about Newt Gingrich, but there you go, Doxological Thinker. Yeah, I can't say for sure just based on those clips, but you definitely might be right. The fact that they scrubbed that video, that lends itself to you being correct. All right. Got one super chat from Doxological Thinker says, look at the neck. It's super obvious and glitchy. All right, we'll look one last time. Since they're sending another super chat, we'll take one last look.
You have to understand that he never thinks outside the box because he doesn't think there is a box. So one minute he's engaged in dealing with the.
Oh, this flap of skin right here, flopping up and down, definitely does look strange.
The left-wing goofiness of something like Cracker Barrel or Bud Light.
So if we just pay attention to the chin, you're right. That does look pretty strange. It's like some people will just claim it's hanging skin, but the way it's flopping up and down definitely looks pixelated and strange for sure. Hey, you might be on to something, bro. What do you guys think? The neck right here, the way it's moving. Truth Hurts says bad mask or reptilian. Ishar says mask. A-Rod says bro is a frog man. Ihanic says flopping like a fish. Allison says good catch. Hey, so there might be something to what you're saying, bro. Truth Hurts says that's an alien. Allison says, oh yeah, definitely AI. Deadbeat says, I was fired from my Mick job for not joining the good old boys club. I'm free in case you want a drummer. I could be Max Weinberg to your Conan O'Brien. You were working at McDonald's and you got fired for not joining the good old boys club? Yeah, I would need more of an explanation. What sort of good old boys club are you referring to? And what did they ask you to do? Oh, UPS. Fired from UPS. Well, what were they trying to get you to do? He said all jobs are Mick jobs. I don't know why. When he said Mick jobs, it threw me off and made me think McDonald's. I don't know why. Deadbeat said, go out drinking and do cocaine and tell nasty racial and sexual jokes at work. Yeah, sometimes those corporate jobs don't like it when you go out and get drunk and do rails of coke and tell racial and sexual jokes at work. Yeah. That can get you canned. I haven't had a regular job in so long. I forgot what it was like. I remember they suck. I remember working at regular jobs sucks, but it's been so long since I've had a regular job that's like, I kind of forgot how it feels. Oh, he wouldn't participate. Oh, they wanted you to go out and drink and do coke, but you didn't want to. I see. So you got fired for not drinking and doing coke. I got fired for not being a cokehead. Everyone at my work is a cokehead, and they wanted me to join the coke club. And I was like, nah, I'm good. And they were like, you're fired. Kreger with a donation says, good night, Jake and Ralphie. Good night, Kreger. I'm going to be wrapping up the stream soon. So thank you for hanging out with me tonight. And thank you for the super chat donation, Kreger. Fist bumps to you. Seer3240 says, I want the lunar module t-shirt, but I want to print it on the back so people will really see it. Well, what difference would it make whether it's on the front or on the back? I mean, most people, when they see you walking towards them, are going to see the design on your shirt, right? So I would think that maybe more people would see it if it's on the front rather than the back. But you could always buy a regular lunar module t-shirt and then just wear it backwards. It might not be that comfortable, but it is an option. And there was a super chat that I missed with no message attached from Aaron Rowand as well. Let me go back and snag that real quick if I can. Aaron Rowland, no message attached, but some super chat appreciation. Thank you very much, Aaron Rowland. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. We've almost been on here for 3 hours, and I'm getting a little tired and hungry, and Ralph wants to go out for a walk. So we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. In fact, come on, Ralph. Come on. Up. Come on. Ugh. So this is Jake the Awake and Ralph. We're going to go ahead, say goodnight to you guys. Thank you for hanging out with me tonight and watching all these video clips and breaking down the world stage shenanigans with me. I really appreciate that. Extra big thank you to everyone who donated tonight. I really appreciate the support. Your guys' donations help keep this channel afloat. They help keep me doing what I'm doing. You guys are basically helping keep this channel in existence, celebrating 10 years of Jake the Awake on YouTube. That's right, 10 years. This month marks the 10-year anniversary of when I created this channel, and I wouldn't be here doing it without all you guys and your awesome support. You guys really are the most awesome audience on YouTube. And thanks again to Lemming in a Shiny Metal Box for the very generous super chat earlier, requesting the Tom Grossi impression. Very generous of you, sir. Thank you once again. And to everybody else who participated tonight, I'm going to go back and watch the replay later on, and I'll read all of the chats here tonight. So whatever was said, I'm going to go back and reread all of them. So I'll see who was here and who said what. And so thanks again for hanging out with me on another Wake 'em Up Wednesday. If anything goes down and there's major news to cover, then I'll do a stream this weekend. If there's no major news to cover this weekend, then I might just wait till next week to do another stream. So possibly I'll do a live stream this weekend if there's some stuff to cover. All right, guys, have a good night. I'll see you guys on the next video or the next live stream. Take care. Bye-bye.